He invoked Malcolm X to talk about voting for the Republican Party. That is so crazy.
Because they are really screwing you. They are really screwing you.
It is Kamala, for the record, but he is denigrating voters for making a choice that he does not like. Shelley, to you, what does he achieve with this?
Well, how is it? Wait, first of all, how is he denigrating voters?
He's saying that they are being...
He's about to pop off big time, dude.
For lack of a better word, screwed.
Taken advantage of. They're being taken advantage of. They're paying higher pricing. They're working class, the ones that he's talking about, working class.
That's my barber dog. Oh, God.
Lower middle class. They're paying more for food. They're paying more for gas, and they're being taken advantage of.
But
and
Shelley,
over the course of 30 years, they voted.
He also said that they, that they had to have their head examined. That is not something that is a compliment.
Obama just told me the same thing. Obama just told me the same thing. I've got black women telling me I'm not really he inferred them. He implied them. He certainly did. He even threatened us with, "You're lucky Michelle's not here." I mean, come on. Let's not make things up. Let's be honest here, and let's really be clear what's being said. If you're an African-American man, look, let me boil this election down in the African-American community to a very simple a reference to great Malcolm X. This race is between House African-Americans and field African-Americans. And the field African-Americans...
Wow.
He invoked Malcolm X to talk about voting for the Republican Party. Like, he wasn't just... He was using the Malcolm X quote. That makes it even worse. That's crazy. Unk don't have internet.
Going for Donald Trump. I'm talking about your men. I'm talking about your men who build, your men who put things together, your men who work with their hands, your men who do things, not the men who push paper, or the men who are connected to power and want to continue to be connected to power. I'm talking about the men and women in our community who are actually doing the work.
African-American men who are professionals who work in white-collar jobs? Is that what I'm hearing from you, or?
No.
I'm just trying to understand. Is Shelley
No, what he said is like almost worse. Like he's just saying that, like, he's saying that if you are a collaborator with the Republican Party, that you are actually fighting against white supremacy. Whereas if you are voting for the Democratic Party, you are collaborating with white supremacists. If black conservatives are comfortable saying stuff like this on CNN, though, like, oh God, white people are going to get fucking way, way, way more aggro.
What I'm doing one or the field one? I'm just trying to understand that part. I'm just trying to understand. We have someone who's spitting. I'm just trying to understand the one that's spitting talking points right now. Are you the House Negro or the field Negro that you're referring to? So I just want to make sure your question was about denigrating black people. That literally was your question. You have a Republican fool who is talking right now about you.
Back during slavery, when black people like me talked to the slaves, they didn't kill him. They'd send some old house Negro along behind him to undo what he said. You have to read the history of slavery to understand this. There were two kinds of Negroes. There was that old house Negro and the field Negro. And the house Negro always looked out for his master. When the field Negroes got too much out of line, he held them back in check. He put them back on the plantation. The house Negro could afford to do that because he lived better than the field Negro. He ate better, he dressed better, and he lived in a better house. He lived right up next to his master in the attic or the basement. He ate the same food his master ate and wore his same clothes. And he could talk just like his master, good diction. And he loved his master more than his master loved himself. That's why he didn't want his master hurt. If the master got sick, he'd say, "What's the matter, boss? We sick?"
Yeah. Black conservatives found a new and even grosser way to say leave the Democratic plantation. Exactly. Which is like a common statement. Look, as you guys know, I'm white. Let me just rephrase this, okay? Let me explain something. I just shaved. I'm whiter than I ever have been in quite some time. I'm doing whiteface, as someone might even say. Okay, so as a white guy, I'm sitting my white ass down and I'm listening. But the one thing that, as a white guy that has observed communication strategies such as the one being demonstrated not by Malcolm X, but the one being the one that is bastardizing Malcolm X's quote here, okay, is one that I've heard time and time again from black conservatives, Republicans specifically. Black Republicans play fast and loose with white supremacist terminology that inherently treats black people as like subservient and inferior to white people, saying things like the Democratic plantation, like invoking chattel slavery in comparison to the current existence in a way that doesn't suit the bill at all. It doesn't fit at all. This is an extension of that, I think. And it almost always feels like it's basically speaking to the white desires, the desires of white people to be able to say these things. But when a black person is saying it, it just seems more appropriate. That's what I always get the feeling of whenever I hear black Republicans speak on these matters. But this is the original quote, and it's about black collaborators within the structure of chattel slavery.
When the master's house caught a fire, he'd try and put the fire out. He didn't want his master's house burned. He never wanted his master's property threatened. And he was more defensive of it than the master was. That was the house Negro. But then you had some field Negroes who lived in huts, had nothing to lose. They wore the worst kind of clothes, they ate the worst food, and they caught hell. They felt the sting of the lash. They hated their master. Oh, yes, they did. If the master got sick, they prayed that the master died. If the master's house caught a fire, they prayed for a strong wind to come along. This was the difference between the two. And today you still have house Negroes and field Negroes. I'm a field Negro.
When it comes down to it, I think in like the American duopoly, it's wild for a conservative to compare himself to Malcolm X.
You literally just said that black men, you actually just said this is an election about house or field. This is the nonsense that we are listening to right now by those that are supporting Donald Trump. That is actually what you just, there's only, well, clearly you must be in your own talk. I'm not sure what kind of radio show you have that you can't listen to your own thing. So you actually just said.
For Trump.
Again, do you understand? You sound absurd and silly. And so let's actually talk about the substance of your question.
You sound absurd and silly.
The substance of the question was around denigrating. The substance of the question was denigrating black and Latino communities.
Sir. The substance of what I said is very clear.
My name is Michael. And we thank you that. So the.
God damn, dude. Holy shit.